Hello, everybody. We are just getting everything all situated here. Trying to, anyway. It's just kind of one of those days. I don't know. I feel like I know I'm doing stuff, but I feel like nothing's happening. And I'm not quite sure why.
That was me yesterday. I did get a lot done yesterday. I was working with clients yesterday, but then I was just like, it felt like I got nothing done.
Yeah, it's like so weird when that goes on. Like you're just like, oh, okay, I'm moving along here. And then the day's done and there's that list and you're like, oh, okay.
What happened? Where did my time go?
What happened? I know I was here somewhere, but I'm not quite sure what went on.
Was I plane skipping that well? Like,
exactly. Like, have I been working on like my time magic? Am I in a different dimension right now? Who knows? Who knows? It's just how it is. So let me see here if we're hopping on
live. Apologies.
Bless you. No, the allergies have been like freaking stupid lately. All right, so Instagram a jerk face right now. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So hello everybody. I have to relog into Instagram. We have Ethony here today as I'm just kind of rambling on about I don't even know what at this point. So like I said, it is one of those days and we're just here hanging out with you. And, we're just going to kind of go with it because, I mean, what else are we going to do? And
hello, Alan from Portland, Oregon, and I love your handle, Big Hard Books and Classics.
That's amazing.
I'm easily amused, obviously.
It really doesn't take me much to be entertained, so I'm all about it. Like, the sillier it is, the happier it makes me. And I'm all about stupid puns and all of that fun stuff. It just, so this is why I get lost on TikTok so easily because I just started
call it the TikTok rabbit hole.
Oh,
so my sister literally has a thing on her phone now that kicks her off of TikTok after a certain amount of time because she goes down. I mean, she's such a Capricorn, but like she goes down the rabbit hole. So I'm like, maybe I need that in my life because all of a sudden I'm like watching all of the videos, just going like, what?
No, it is. But the thing is I would get that and I would totally like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do. But then I would like reset it and be like, I'm going to actually reset it for like an extra hour. So that's probably what I would do. And I'm just being completely honest there. So, yeah, because somebody was posting too about just some of the live readers on TikTok, and
I think Christina Gauthier.
Yeah, Christiana. Yeah.
Pentacles. Yeah.
Yes. No, it's definitely. Oh yay, we're live! I did it. So hello, Instagram, everybody. It took us a minute to get everything all situated. So we have Ethony here today, and we're just chitting and chatting and talking about Instagram. Nope, we're talking about TikTok right now, and some of the TikTok readers. And I always tell the story of the one I had that I was watching because sometimes I just have to see what's happening. And she was talking. She pulled the tower. And she's like, oh, such great things are coming to you. And, you're going to go on a trip. And I'm like, I get everybody, has their own interpretations, but she was at first I thought she was being stunky. Like, what kind of trip are we going on? Like a bad acid trip? But no, she was completely serious in this. And I'm just like,
I mean, okay. So there's a couple of really let's dive into this TikTok tarot reading thing because let's fucking do it. There are a couple on there that I really like. I don't spend a lot of time, honestly, when I'm on TikTok, I'm not on there necessarily looking for tarot readings or like looking at those. They come up, right? Because I'm obviously like
in the like algorithm.
TikTok, yeah. So there are a few that I think do a really good job. But I also recognize that, like, I'm not the target audience for that. And but there are some that it's just like you've never ever learned the tarot. You're just like intuitively reading. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like I teach lots of different modalities and how to read the cards. But if you're an intuitive reader, then you're an intuitive reader, because that could have been like that example of the Four of Pentacles being like something is coming that's close to your heart, because that imagery could be interpreted as something coming to you that is you're going to hold close to your heart, if you have no fucking clue what the Four of Pentacles means.
Exactly.
But there should, I mean, I don't know if there is ever any, because we're just cats, right? Well, you can't herd cats. Like tarot readers are like, we have no governing body, thank God. But like, there's no disclaimer of like, this is how I read kind of thing. So I think sometimes it might be that they're coming from a very intuitive place, and then they're not necessarily, you know, going off of like the more the actual system, but there's nowhere to say like this is, you know. And then if you jump in halfway through a stream or whatever, there's no way to like say that either. There's no way to put that in disclosure unless you're saying it every 10 minutes. And then if you're doing a 15-second TikTok, you know, you got to put in the text maybe, you know, but then, you know, who gives a fuck if the message resonates either? So there's like all these like dynamics around that being the thing. But yeah, I would look at that. You and I might look at that, and someone who knows anything about tarot might look at that and go like, that's a bit interesting. But, you know, I mean, it's an interesting world we live in.
Yes, to say the least, for sure. I find though too that a lot of the people that even looking for readings of any sort, because like some of the things, you know, that the one thing that always gets me is they're like shucking oysters like for the pearls.
Oh my God, the pearl people. Oh my God. Now it's like little plastic pieces of shit. And I'm just like, well, that's some more stuff to end up in a landfill. Way to go, humanity. Like, yes, I know.
Well, and it's just so, I don't know. I don't even know I have a word for it, honestly, because I'm like, what is happening? Like, it took me a while I was looking, I'm like, what is going on? There's like, it's wet, it's kind of slimy. I'm like, what? No, okay. So you're going from that, you're going to these, these readers who whatever. And it is hard. It's hard to even say I'm an intuitive reader. Like you said, you can't say it every 5 minutes. But then the people going on there too, some of the questions that they're asking, and you're just like, it hurts. It hurts my brain. It does. And I just,
it hurts. That's the other thing I found too. So, I was like you, by the way. I was like, what is going on here? Like, are we dissecting something on like a TikTok? And then I figured out it was like pearls.
Loud, like what's happening? And then people are like bidding on this little whatever this is. I'm like,
yes, so weird. But that was another thing I found very different. And it could be, I know there are a wide demographic of people on every social media platform, but what I found to be very interesting on Instagram versus TikTok going live and doing readings is that the questions people were asking me on Instagram were a lot more aligned to getting a better reading than the questions that people were asking me on TikTok. The questions people were asking me on TikTok were like, are you serious? Like, are you, like, it was just so inane, like, not, and I've never bashed anyone, you know. My favorite question is he going to come back? Because I just feel like there's so much fun stuff to, no, I mean, like, obviously relationships really hard, but I love that question. I love that question. So I'll never bash a question like that, but like they were worse than that. You know what I mean? They were like terrible questions on TikTok.
Yeah, they're like raunchy. Like I feel like they're mostly like raunchy sex questions. And I'm just like, do you even really want to know that answer? Like, are you sure?
A lot of what I found was like, when am I going to get pregnant? When am I going to get married? Is he going to marry me? Am I going to have his baby? Like, very that. And I'm just like, okay, well, we're clearly looking at that fortune teller thing. And I've seen like some of those dowsing people who say yes, no, maybe. And that's a very closed question to be asking. So I just think the format is like, it's an interesting format. But again, there are some good people on TikTok, but I'm like, if you're getting your readings just from TikTok, I mean, I don't know.
How about we say this? Why don't you venture out and maybe go to Instagram, maybe just get a reading from someone, so you kind of have that, that base of like what to expect, or even how to frame a question or something, because it is definitely, I do feel that a lot of people can get a lot of misinformation, and that even we can lead into witch talk. Let's dive into that, Ethony.
Well, I'm not a big fan of gatekeeping in any way, shape, or form, which is why I say, like, if you interpret the card one way, but cool beans, man. If like that message resonates with someone, great. My differentiator is that I'm like, okay, you're an intuitive reader. You're not you're reading the tarot cards versus you are a tarot reader who has learned the system. Doesn't mean that you can't put your interpretive hit on that. Doesn't mean that layer doesn't add on. And I read in layers. So it doesn't mean that doesn't happen, but that's just the line that I draw for myself and for my students, but it doesn't mean what you're doing isn't valid. So I feel like the same thing happens on Witch Talk. We have this old guard across the board, tarot, witchcraft, whatever, across the board, that when they see something new like TikTok and Witch Talk and whatever, and they're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, I was literally told, I've told this story before, but it still like blows my mind about the audacity of this woman, but I kind of like love her for it. We were in Australia, we have the Australian Wiccan Conference. I don't know if it survived COVID, but every year the Australian Wiccan Conference would move from city to city around Australia, so that every year a different city would host. And they were in Perth, Western Australia one year. I was at spring camp with the Combined Coven Social Club. If you're in Western Australia, go check them out. They do amazing social stuff. We literally have a camp. It's fucking amazing. I wish they had shit like that here. And a very big, open, pagan Wiccan community in Australia. It's pretty rad. Anyway, so we were doing this panel, and I was one of the younger people on the panel. This was a long ass time ago, guys. I've been in Canada for 10 years, so it was a while ago. But I mean, like, I was pretty in the community, and I was sitting with other people in the community, and I was talking about how, like, Wicca has changed, and I had a coven at that point, and I started a teen group straight out of high school where I'd meet parents, and they would come to stuff, and like if their kids were interested in the craft, like I was very that kid. So and she literally turned to me, because she was like an old school Gardnerian witch, and was just like, well, you're not a real witch. What you do isn't valid, and if you haven't been initiated by an unbroken line that can go back to Gardner, Sanders, but some of the old creepy crew,
the more formal,
like the ones right back in the day. What you're doing is invalid. And I was like, first of all, she's probably dead. She's like 1 million years old, and she had a ceremonial sword that she was given by the Sanders, Alexander. So she was like, blah blah blah, and I was like, the gumption to like literally tell it to my face, although I prefer people to say things to my face.
Right.
So there are those people that still feel a certain type of way about those sorts of things. So, TikTok came and Witch Talk blew up, and then you've got people who are of course, sowing misinformation. You've got people who have got no idea what they're doing.
Right.
But what are you going to do? Because for me, I'm sorry, I know I'm like rambling, but for me, say I think having it to be accessible and has many voices who are going to resonate, cool.
Yeah.
There is a very well-known person who was on YouTube. They've done, I don't even know if they're on TikTok, but they did a tarot deck, and it was like, I would never use it. It was very, very basic. And they wrote books, and they kind of got into this whole thing. And I'm like, that's great. It's very entry level. It's very fluffy. It's very easy to do. It's very unfrightening, because the thing is, it has nothing to do, as your magic has nothing to do with the person you learn it from, unless you're in a closed coven, and that's a bit of a different thing.
Yeah.
But the person that you're like, you learn a spell off of TikTok, say, if you do not have your own relationship with your magic, with how you meet the magic in real life, if you aren't doing your own work, you could do a spell a day and nothing's going to happen.
Right.
So who the fuck cares?
Absolutely.
Like, let people talk about their inspiration and share shit, because
Yeah.
it's got nothing to do with them finding an orange spell for courage on fucking TikTok. It's going to work for some people and it's not going to work for others. And it's got nothing to do with the person on TikTok. It's got to do with themselves.
Right. And I think, too, it can be helpful for people who are super new and just are looking for ideas. But I think too that, all right, well, say, like you said, the orange for, whatever, say they want creativity and whatever, research it, look into it. Just don't do what they're doing or take what that person, and that goes anywhere. That, like, again, that goes across the board. As you're learning, you have to read. It's like, read everything, and even the stuff you don't like, read that too, just so that you can kind of form your own opinion and see what works for you and what doesn't. And I do feel like that, there are a lot of those people like, well, you're not a real witch if you don't do this, and you're not a real, and it's like, you know what? If you have that much time, really, if you have that much time in the day to be, keeping track of everybody else and how they're doing it, then maybe that's, you need to look at yourself.
Yeah, maybe someone needs to get a life.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is too, is I've been teaching and running my coven now since 2015. I've been in life coven, like in real life covens, in digital ones. I've been a part of a community for a very, very long time. And I've seen it time and time and time again. It's like the entry point will usually be the spark of inspiration wherever you find it. And then people are like, oh, it's this aesthetic and it's all this great stuff. And then they realize the work that goes into it, like the accountability and like, all this shit, owning your emotions, working through your trauma, so you're not dumping it on other people. And then they're like, oh, this is too hard. And then like those same people aren't necessarily going to like read books that make them feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
No, they're not. Because if they can't even, sit and look at what their own shit is, they're not going to go reading.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, okie dokie. Well, and again, no judgment, like, trauma and accountability and systemic racism and institutionalization, like all that shit is fucking hard, man. Like, it is hard stuff. So it's not, and then people want to go balls to the wall with this sort of stuff. And it's like, you got to, like, life is the longest thing you're ever going to do. Integration of new information is really difficult, even if you don't feel it on a mental level. It's got to come down to emotional, body, like the whole thing. Just allow it to take time, So it's nothing is going to happen kind of overnight. But I find witch talk like fascinating. I do not get involved in any of the drama. I know there's been like massive drama on book talk and all sorts of shit.
Oh, yeah, no, I just watch. I don't comment or post on anything. I'm just like creeping along over here.
Yeah, I find it utterly fascinating that so-called like spiritual communities have got no problem tearing the fucking shit out of each other. It's just like, guys, have you not learned anything? Like, shut the fuck up. Like, honestly.
All of you, please. No, it is. And it's like, it amazes me. Just some of the, and then they start like going after them and like, tagging them and reposting their stuff and tearing it apart. And I'm just like, I think you're missing the point here, people. Like,
again, well, some of it is like definitely like bait, like clickbait, and wanting to like add into the drama. And if you're about that life to get subscribers or followers or whatever, cool beans, man, you be about that life. But like, sit with the real reason. I will call a bitch out. You know me. Yeah. I have been talking about fake decks. I've been talking about pirating. I talked about people with that TikTok person being really predatory. I will call that out. I will never like drag another community member through the mud for making a mistake and apologizing for it. Right. Or I will never cheer on somebody else's downfall, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I have never, ever understood what that does to our community as a whole or the individual to do that. It's like, we're supposed to know better than that. And our egos are going to have a moment, but where you have that moment? You have that moment on the phone with your best friend or a confidant in the community privately. You don't fucking have it on your social media platform.
Right. And to not have that control of that, and it's like, you obviously are are not touching on any of these little shadowy aspects of yourself if you have to go on there to get that attention. Because we know, like, bad attention's better than no attention, and someone needs attention, someone's ego needs to be fed. There's something. But Big Hard Books says, I went through the Golden Dawn initiations. Oof. And rituals, initiations were very interesting, informative, but I'm not with the chapter temple anymore. So
yeah, and those ones are intense. Like Golden Dawn initiations, I mean, I feel like still they're very archaic because of like the time and space that they were created. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're even more intense than some of the more traditional Wiccan ones as well. Although a lot of the traditional Wiccan ones, it's pulled from, Levi and the Golden Dawn and Crowley, and it's like a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit, so
we got a new one. Here we go.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I don't get involved. I'm too busy anyway to get involved in the drama, and I want everyone to succeed. Especially if you are someone who is. That's why I collaborate with people. I work with people all the time. But but if you are a person who is doing, like, if you're helping, like, educate or inspire, or like you're a person who's not being, predatory and taking thousands of dollars of money and keeping people on the hook about like their exes and finding their pain points and really exploiting them. If you're succeeding, we all fucking succeed, because the more people that see people like that, the less shit we're all going to be dealing with, and the better off our communities are. So I've never understood this whole thing. And the tarot community ain't got nothing on the pagan community. The pagan community loves a good drama.
Right. No, I know. I was just talking to somebody recently too, and they were talking about being like at a festival or whatever, and like the covens were like, it was like a gang war going on.
Yeah, they huddle together, they move in hats.
And it was like, guys, like, and it's already hard enough, like, if you identify as a witch, even as a tarot reader, it's already hard enough, because you already have like the media, the movies, all of that against you. And then when you have, these certain people that are doing this shit, and then it's like, you're not helping. Like, this isn't helping us.
Yeah, this is why you've never seen me invited to any like pagan because I'm sure I pissed off someone somewhere, and I don't know, but I don't really care, first of all. But like, because I don't know, I don't have time for it. I want to have fun with people and enjoy each other's success and cheer each other on and be around positive people who want the same thing, let alone like being like, this motherfucker said this. And it's like, well, okay, well, was it taken out of context? Did they apologize? Why are we running them through the mud? Why are we piling on this person? Why can't we move on and allow people to be human? And I'm not talking about horrid stuff, but we all make little mistakes and we all are learning. And it's just, it's crazy to me.
No, it is crazy. And I think too, it's all in how you're receiving the message. Like, is it through a text? Is it through, just a post or whatever? Because again, you don't have the tone. You don't know, how they're coming about. And I was in a situation a couple months ago, and I was trying to actually get this person on the phone. I'm like, excuse me, I'm like, let's do a Zoom, like, because I'm very much when stuff's going on, like, I want to deal with it and I want to talk to you on the phone, face to face, and I just want to get it done over it, no matter how it's gonna, pan out. I can't leave it. The hanging drives me nuts. Like, that drives me insane. So I'm trying to get, and this person would not go on the phone with me. They would not talk to me about in person. I saw them in person. They avoided me. And I'm just like, all right, and I think also too, when, if you're that type of person, even if you're not, and you're trying to resolve it that way and the other person won't, I think it's just like, it's hard to kind of like take it, like, okay, this person isn't going to talk it out because that's what I want. That they just may not be able to. They may just be a keyboard warrior, and that's as far as it goes with them. And accepting that and being able to move on from that too is, that's kind of like putting the big girl panties on, because it sucks. Like, because I'm like, I just want to hash this out, but you can't sometimes. You can't. You can't.
And the other thing is too, is that like it becomes, and I have always said to, like, I mean, even anyone watching this, like, if anyone has ever you know, had a problem, if I said something to upset anybody or whatever it may be, like, just talk to me. Like, I worked in fucking HR, like my whole professional muggle career before I, you know, did this full time, and I was always doing tarot, but before this was my job.
Right.
I was in HR. Like, I've had very delicate conversations my entire professional life. Like, just have a conversation with me and let's clear the air. Or it, you know, and then there's the other thing of like, sometimes you're just not going to like someone and you have no idea why. And yeah, and that's fine too. But yeah, I'm much like that too. I'm just like, hey, can we just have like a 5-minute chat? And if we walk away and we've decided that cool, we're just not on this, we're not each other's vibe.
Yeah.
Fine, that's cool.
You know, right? Like, at least you know. And that's the part that makes me feel, I'm like, okay, I know. Now I know what I'm dealing with. I know what I'm, you know, and it's fine. So it's, you know, being able to do that and even just getting to that point. And sometimes that even happens when you are reading for somebody, right? Like, you get a client and you know, we're not on the same page here. This isn't going to work out. And for me, like, that's when I'm like, listen, I know somebody else, like, check this reader out. They may work out for you. And a lot of people won't do that. They'll just suffer through it because they don't want to like lose the money or refer it out.
Right. But that's one of the things I believe really separates the professionals to like the elite professionals, because if you know yourself enough and you know your professional integrity enough to be like, hey, let's just, and it's all in the way you receive, it's all in the way you say this. And you know, as someone who's like had to read some pretty heavy shit for people, you know, if you just say, hey, look, obviously we're not vibing, this isn't resonating with you, and I don't want to, for either of us to have a situation where this is not, you know, enjoyable or insightful,
right.
I can, you know, refund your money and refer you to somebody else so that we're not dragging this out. I mean, how is anyone going to find that bad?
No, and you know, and again, though, that's, you know, some of the readers, like, it's that ego, it's like removing it. And I think, especially for people who are new readers, it's really important. Like, you got to take your ego and put that shit in a box and lock it. Okay. Because it's like not about you. It's not about you hitting, you know, being that fortune teller and hitting this and hitting that. And, you know, it's like you're there, you know, trying to help somebody get through something, most likely. I mean, I'm a more coaching reader, you know. I'm usually trying to help somebody get somewhere, you know, with whatever's going on. And not everybody's like that. And again, that if you know, don't be afraid also to ask readers how they read, or social media. Look and just see that, because I think that's a really great way for people to decide who may be a good fit for them as well.
Yeah, that's why I mean, if I'm coaching anyone business wise, I'm like, okay, well, how is anyone going to find out about you? Like, where's your print? Where's your footprint? So, you know, I don't care where it is, but where is it that someone can find out? Like, you can look at any of my videos, mostly on anything, and figure out pretty quickly what kind of personality I have and whether that's going to vibe with you or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely, for sure. And I think that's, you know, that's really important when people are kind of either learning or trying to find someone, any of it, you know. I think that's a big thing. But why don't you tell us about your new deck? And it's Cosmic Wisdom Tarot, right?
Yes, it is. So I have been working with a wonderful artist, James Fenner, to create the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot. He's just finishing up the artwork edits. So some of these are not fully edited yet. And the guidebook is just getting formatted and stuff now. But it is my brand new, this is the Page of Cups.
Oh my God, I love the colors.
So yeah, this is going to be, we're actually running a Kickstarter this time. I haven't done a Kickstarter since my Awakened Soul Oracle, which is like crazy to think it was like 2016.
Right.
This deck is a little bit of a mix of traditional Rider-Waite and some more modern aspects, but then there's also some more classic or like ancient aspects. It's kind of like that mix of both. And so this is our 7 of Pentacles. our beekeeper.
Yay.
We have the Queen of Pentacles. I really wanted to challenge the Queen of Pentacles because like the Queen of Pentacles is often seen like a lot of green and a lot of nature, but in a lot of Asian cultures, especially, so she's Chinese, so in a lot of Asian cultures and especially China, red is the color of fortune.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Have red, this is a different concept of this Queen of Pentacles.
Oh, I love that.
So I'm showing some of these. I have not shown any of these new cards before. This is the Queen of Wands.
Oh my god. Oh, I love the
Panther.
Big cat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I like the border on that one too.
Yeah, he's done such a great job. The Knight of Swords.
Yeah, that border's awesome. Oh wow, yeah. Oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
Thanks.
I love that there's like so much to pull from too. There's just a lot of the images, like even the colors.
Yeah, he's been a dream to work with. I'll talk you through some of the process in a minute. Now, my printer just decided to like not do a very good job with this one, but this is see how the streaking, that's my printer. It's not the card, but this is the Four of Swords.
Oh, cool.
So
that's a cool one. I like that.
Yeah, as you can see, like there's like some more traditional, so like strength. There's some traditional aspects to the happy birthday, Rebecca, to the cards. That's the Fool, but then there's like going to be some more.
Oh, I love the jacket. I love how you did that on the jacket. That's great.
Thanks. The Magician.
Love that.
Yeah, so how I work, and it'd be I'm sure you probably talked about this before, but how I work with creating a deck is, oh my god, it's so much work. I think
yes, it is.
I'm so close to the finish line with this one too. Like it feels like, there's going to be two versions of the Lovers in the deck too.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I've got more cards, but I'll talk a little bit about my process. So I am very hands-on. I scope every card. So what that looks like is, so we find an artist, we find out whether it's going to work, and that usually comes with like, this is the idea, and then they'll do like a couple of cards in the way that I'm kind of thinking to see if there's a match.
Right.
And for me, I like, because like, for example, James, who I worked with in this deck, he had done some tarot cards for a friend's wedding as place things for tables, but he had no experience with tarot. So for me, it was like, this is what this card means. These are the important symbols that are in the card, and this is why. This is the coloring I want, the point of view that I want. This is what I want them to be wearing, like every detail. Which is why it is
like so people don't realize that, because like even like I was like down to the hair color,
yes, absolutely,
size, what they're wearing, and it's a lot.
Yeah, it's like every little thing, and then the sketch is made, and then we kind of move on there. And of course, the artist, I'm always working in tandem with the artist to have them let me know what they, if they've chosen something, or if they've been inspired to do something, then that's great too.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of work to kind of go through everything together and do this work. Again, some of this is on matte and some of it is on shiny just because of my printer. But yeah, so it's going to be coming. We're hoping the Kickstarter is going to be next month.
Awesome.
Because we're like done, pretty much, because we wanted to get everything ready so that we could literally just go print,
Right.
And so that's my newest tarot project, and then I'm writing my second book with Llewellyn is coming out next year.
Awesome.
It's another tarot book, and then I have another tarot deck I'm working on, of course.
Oh yeah, as one does.
As one does. And I'm going to be teaching my second level of like advanced tarot, which is around the astrology of the tarot and deep dive into symbols and that language. So it's for someone who already knows the meanings of the cards, right back to what we were talking about before, but wants to learn about the astrology of the tarot and how that plays in and wants to do more advanced stuff. So I've got plenty going on.
A little bit going on here and there, but I mean, like I said, it's like we almost can't help ourselves. Like we have to have like a million things going on, or who knows what we'll be doing. It's probably safest for everybody if we're just busy.
100%. Make me tired by the end of the day. That is the best thing to do, because she will find an outlet for her. Thankfully, I've never been I've always been creative. Like ever since a child, like I would be happy in my room, like sketching, you know, fashion designs or writing or whatever it may be. Like that was always like my thing. So I'm quite happy in that space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, it's definitely good. And you also have a very large online community. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Which one?
All of them.
So I have the tarot. Whoops. I have the tarot. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
It's something. I have the Tarot Readers Academy Facebook group, which has over 35,000 members in it now, which is just crazy to think. I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway too. So if you aren't in there yet, you should, because I'm going to be doing a celebration giveaway for that. You could win. There's lots of decks up for winning. So there's that. Then that's students of the Tarot Readers Academy, some of the teachers of some of the classes that are in there. There's like practice. You can do practice readings. You can share your stuff. You can like just connect with other tarot people. I'm on YouTube. I have an online coven, the Awaken Soul Coven, which has been running since 2015. And it's a coven where we do meet on Zoom. So you do get that interaction. July, we're working with the archetype of authenticity. And I'm going to be doing some prosperity work. We're going to be doing some authenticity and assertiveness training with people, because not everyone knows how to bring that.
I like that. No, that is good.
Yeah. And then we have our full moon ritual. So I have lots of things going on, which is a little crazy.
Yes, no, but it's all good. It's all good. So if, if anybody is interested in that, you can just definitely, if you don't already, which I'm sure you all follow her anyway, but dive into it all, check it out, see what's going on. And also too, if you have any of her other decks, go on and review them on Amazon, and post them, share them, all the things. So it's really helpful to do all that stuff. It seems like it's such a silly thing, but I'm always hammering on about reviewing things. Like just go do it. Take that 5 minutes. It's so helpful.
It definitely helps. Just be careful about, if it doesn't say it's being sold by Ethony Enterprises, it's not mine, because like we know that there's just a million fakes out there. So just be wary out there, buyers, about what you're purchasing, because they're ripping everyone off.
And yes, and there is, I know that there are a couple of indie decks that do have a QR code, but for the most part, and then usually the QR is inside the box, that I've noticed. If they have it's like on the inside of the cover, because I have gotten a couple, and I've gotten like an indie, and I look and I'm like, there's a QR code. I'm like, shit, there's a QR code. Does this mean it's, but it isn't. But they don't put it on the back of the box. It's like inside the cover.
So
I think too, if you are unsure, just message or email the creator and they will be able to tell you right away, because it's really hard to figure it out sometimes. It really is. And a lot of the stores, like if you go in and you tell them, they don't care.
They do not care.
Do not care. And they're like, I got this batch for $50, whatever. So, I mean, it really needs to be, it's really just like, the Instagram messages, like if we're coming out, if someone's like grand rising and most people are getting better, but a lot of people still don't realize that either.
Yeah.
That's frustrating because I had actually a couple of months ago, this woman started messaging me and she was really angry with me because a scammer had her doing a ritual in her sink. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't even do that because I don't want to clean up after this. Like, what? Like, I'm like, I'm sorry. And they were mad at me. And I'm like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know.
Why were they mad at you though?
No, like, and I even said to her, I'm not sure why you're angry with me. And she's like, because blah, 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 blah. And it was really just nonsense. And at that point, I'm just like, okay,
see you later, bye.
I'm gonna disengage now, and I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to be blocked because you just won't stop. But really, I mean, with the fake docs, and I don't even know like how it's something that can be even remedied. I don't even know that it can't. There's just no, it's just such on a grand scale. So it's really up to everybody just being aware of what they're buying and know that if you're going to buy something off of, Temu or Temu,
that's all fake.
Whatever, which it's already going to be fake. Nobody's buying off of there, and it's kind of crazy too, because some of with the printers, I'm thinking, from what I know, it's like they will sometimes sell the images.
So what I've heard, because I went a little bit batty, not batty, but I had one of those days where I woke and chose raccoon violence. Like I was just like in a bad mood because I saw like people with like these fake decks. This was a while ago, before it got really, really bad across like Wish and all that. And I went to my printer and I was like, okay, who did you sell that to? And what ended up happening was someone left the company, went to another printer and took a whole hard drive worth of stuff.
Oh.
And then the gore of that fucking person, they still keep trying to connect with me on LinkedIn, was then they contacted me from the new company. I was like, hey, we had a couple of contacts, like thingamajiggy at this company. You want to work together in there? And I was like, fuck no. So then they had to like tighten their security. But believe you me, it's employees in companies just stealing shit.
Yeah, they must. That must be what they're doing, and they know they can sell it.
Because I was so mad. I was like, I'm going to go with somebody else. How dare you? And then they're like, look, we know this is an internal issue, because that's how you've got like Hay House stuff, like mass published stuff on places like Wish and all that.
Yeah,
it's being stolen.
Yeah, because that's like the only way that it can be found. Like that's the only place you can get them from. So they
just rip it on a hard drive and take it.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And again, I have mostly I've seen, and I have, going back to TikTok, have seen people who have the fake decks on there using them and are very happily using them and don't care. And it's hard, to digest that and to know that no matter what you say, it's not going to change their mind. They got it for $10 and they don't care. They don't care if it's shitty quality and if it's all crooked and nobody's getting money.
Read the prompt and
all right, maybe that helps your reading. I don't know. But again, it's just, I mean, and for them too, to be just like proudly displaying that, you're putting that energy out there of what kind of person you are. So why would anyone?
Capacity.
Who's going to want to get a reading from you if you're just happily like going about like, look what I have, I don't care,
The same fucking people who are asking that bullshit on like those people.
We see you. We are watching. We are watching all of you. No, and it is very disappointing. And I think the more that we can just kind of get it out there and see the differences and know what they are and know that we're creating a deck. And just like you said, it takes so much time. It's so much. You are putting so much into that.
It's years of work.
Yeah.
Years of work.
Years. Yeah. I mean, my deck took almost 4 years. And a lot of that is because I had to find an artist and had to go through, like you said, that whole thing. And then, got the artist, and then there were some things that happened there, so it took a lot longer than we expected, but it's finally done. And to have somebody just kind of rip that off, and it's like, well, all that energy and love and attention to detail that's in that deck that will help you read and will help spark your intuition isn't in any of that fake shit.
I mean, and we could I guess this really goes into the whole AI art thing too, right?
So, right. Yes.
Then we have the added layer of that stuff going around.
Yeah, because there's a lot of those on Kickstarter now. Because when I did my Kickstarter and the ones were popping up, and I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me? It's like, if you want a person with 17 fingers, then fine, because all of those AI decks, they all have the weirdest fingers, and it's
weird eyes, weird fingers. They all look
like this, and you're like, what? No, that doesn't look right. Like, what's happening? And a lot of people aren't even disclosing that it's AI because they know how some people feel about it. I had somebody send me a deck they wanted me to review, didn't tell me it was AI. I got the deck, I made the video, and then I was looking at it, and I just took it down because I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And I messaged, I was like, listen, is this AI or is it? Well, it's AI guided. That's
I know. I love that guided. Fuck off.
I'm like, what? Did they guide you to just put the keywords in? Like, what happened? How did that? And there's another one floating around. And I don't know if it's still on Kickstarter, but that person at first put that it was AI and then took it off. And so every time I saw it pop up, I just wanted to be like, that's not.
Well, the interesting thing is going to be, and there's a few interesting things. Firstly, AI cannot be copywritten. So there is no legislation around, even if you have edited it, I think it's like the percentage of it has to be a certain amount.
Right.
But AI produced text and images cannot be copywritten. So there's no protection around that anyway. I know that there was at some point something around Kickstarter. I thought they were going to start taking them down. Again, if you like that kind of look, okay, whatever, all power to you, but at least let us know what we're consuming. I've been very vocal about this too, about the fact that it's like, if you're learning an art form from the masters, I know there's nothing original in the world, but if you're learning from the masters and you're taking the time to learn something, yes, you may be inspired by the masters. Yes, you may be inspired by someone on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. You may follow tutorials or whatever it may be, but you are the one practically applicating that work. You're using the techniques to create that work.
Right.
And a lot of people are like, when you go to school for art and stuff like that, you have all this like recognition of like, you are being inspired by whoever, Dali, whoever it was, right? Right. AI does not ask for permission from whoever it uses on the internet to get the information, the data collection. And it doesn't you don't get anything from it. So you could be a master who's been working their whole life, and think about the masters we know, even just in the tarot world,
right,
who have been creating art forever. Lisa Hunt, how many decks has she got? She's been doing this for 30 years.
Yep.
Chiro, and digital art is art, by the way. I'm not saying digital art and AI different. Yes. Right? Chiro is another one. Like, we have got people in our community, Robert, we've got people who've been doing this for a very long time. All of their artwork is going to get stolen from AI to AI and used as references without any thanks, without any recognition, without any of that. And that's the massive issue, is plagiarism via mass gathering of artwork, because that's a big issue, not to mention the amount of power that is needed to run these servers and all that kind of stuff. So if you like that, that's fine. If you think that that's pretty and you want to work with it, cool beans, man, you go and do you. But it's the moral thing behind it for me that really just goes abso-fucking-lutely not. And I work with artists, you do too. We pay our artists, you do too. A lot of us do. And these are often marginalized communities already. Artists don't really get, unless you are very, very lucky and you become an it person, or you are able to make it something where you're living very comfortably. A lot of artists are marginalized. Like my artist for the Awakened Soul Oracle is an Indigenous Australian woman. That's a marginalized community. My artist for another deck I'm working with is a queer person, marginalized community. Right? Like it's like these people are already struggling to find like support and allies and representation and work. Like why are we taking opportunities away from those people to then give it to a computer to do? And one that broke my heart was when I saw Tony Carmen Solero, who is the owner of Blue Angel Publishing. And I didn't even know they were the owner of Blue Angel Publishing, but one of my very favorite oracle decks of all time, and now I don't know how I feel about it, is the Angels, Goddesses, and Gods Oracle, because it was one I came across when I was very young and all this sort of stuff. To see that he is now using AI to create the new Blue Angel Publishing deck, and it's being published by a publisher. And I had a conversation with publishers. I've like, as soon as I saw that, I got on to I started making phone calls, but like just about like, hey, I promote your shit. Are you ever going to be doing this? Because if you are, I'm out, you know, like, so that broke my heart, because you are a traditional artist who makes money off of other artists as a publishing company. You also all this stuff, and you have just gone, I'm just going to do an AI one. It's like, oh my God. What
that was I kind of felt like that too. It really made me sad, actually. I was like really kind of sad.
And it's not protected by copyright. How are they even able to do that?
I know, like how? And the thing too is actually a publishing company who was doing, I think it was Red Feather, they were doing like a survey. So they were sending out, they had posted about a survey. So I was like, all right, I'll play. Let me see what this survey is about. It was all about how you feel about AI. It was totally feeling out all of that. And I was just like, why are you doing this? Why is this happening right now? You know? And so that really, like, you know, as somebody, like you said, that you're working with artists and you know that this is most times their only income.
Yeah, their life's work.
That's it. And that's what, and they took all this time to learn this. And, you know, for anybody too that doesn't know or realize, so AI, what they do is they basically take every piece of art, every picture, from everybody and anybody, throw it into
all your photos, everything you've ever done. Yeah.
And they throw it all into this pot, and you throw in some keywords, and they take the pieces and they just, it's like, it's almost like alien, like, you know what I mean? That it's like, you know, that's what it makes me think of like it's like everybody's art on a table and there's just these little pickers like just taking it, you know. And for people who don't know,
I don't think that we need to. I've had a lot of conversations around AI and what it means for businesses and stuff, like, believe me, because like one of my sisters is in professional PR, one of them is in marketing. So I've had lots of conversations around this, right? Because it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to get better, smarter, faster, all that kind of stuff, right? And what that means for us, it's going to be this developing thing. But, and yes, maybe we'll be left in the dust, and maybe we'll be that old guard that's like, but like, whatever, right? But the thing is, I have got no problem with software. Now, what is really fucking cool is that Adobe is going to be creating an ethical AI. So what they're going to be doing is you can put your artwork into their AI generator, like computer, like, so your photos and all that. And if the AI uses it, like their stock photos, you get paid. So like they're trying to, so this is where it becomes like, there is a way to do this, which means there is an ethical way to do this. So they have recognized the outrage of all these artists going, what the actual fuck? So they're going to be creating an AI software where you can put your stuff in there and get paid for it. And that's exactly what it should be. Like, if you're using this as a reference, just let people get paid for it.
Right, exactly.
So companies are going to be doing that. And the only reason why companies are going to be doing that is because we put pressure on them to say, we're not spending our money on that.
Right.
Let the technology do its thing, but do it in a way that doesn't cut people off at the knees.
Right. And I think too, for people who are wanting to purchase or even use that, educate yourself, read about, don't just like download the app because it looks cool and blah, blah, blah. Like, really take a minute. Like, you got 1 minute, if you're sitting on the toilet, look it up,
I've seen every argument. I've seen, I'm a creator and I'm not a very good artist. Yo, bitch, me too. I mean, I've done a lot of art. I could do
stick figures.
You know what? Like, I can do like some, but I have painted a deck and I want to redo that at some point, but like, that's not my like forte. Guess what? We're not going to be good at everything this lifetime. Fucking hate to break it to you. Secondly, yes, I understand that there are some ways that it can be accessible for people who do have disabilities and all that kind of stuff. Again, let's find it ethically. Let's find an ethical way for this to be done. And honestly, there is just like, there is Fiverr. There are so many ways you can engage an artist in your budget.
Right.
That you're saying that like, well, now I can put my thoughts into, it's like, fuck off. Like, if you have literally done no homework as to how to work with artists, and you both get paid, if you are like using this as an excuse. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because
no, it is. It is. And I've seen that because I've seen that. And just the whole like, oh, I really want to create a deck, but I'm not an artist. And exactly like, bitch, me too. And that's why it took me 4 years and thousands of dollars to do it, because I wanted to create it. But then, but I knew I had to outsource that, and I knew I needed to do that. And, even, that if the AI for writing, that's kind of a thing. I mean, I think with the writing, you can usually kind of tell
when somebody's making sure that's any smart
because I've noticed that too.
Sure.
Right, and that alone is just crazy. So what is here? Well, Warrior Girl said, we as humans need to navigate through AI. It's been here all along, just been dormant. We need to make sure that humans don't use it to control the rest of us, in my honest opinion. True. Yeah, I mean, it is around and it's not going anywhere. And but I think too, the point, like what Ethony was saying, is making it ethical and making it, fair. Because I mean, if you are working at your job and then all of a sudden, some computer is just going to take it over and then you lost your job and that's it. You're not going to be like, oh, well, who cares? You're going to be mad, and that's exactly what's happening to these artists. It is legit just taking their livelihood and throwing it into it. And for the and if you like that art, there's a lot, I mean, it's some of it, whatever, but it's not going to be exactly how you want. You can't talk to the computer. You can only put so many keywords in. And, Ethony knows, too. It's like when you're talking to your artist, sometimes you really need to get into it with them and describing it and figuring it out of how you want things placed and all of that. And a computer really can't do that. I know even with my artists, like I'd give her a description how I wanted like my devil card. Like I really saw it a certain way in my head. And she's like, that's not possible. I'm like, what do you mean? And then she explained it. And then, and we had to shift things around and it made it work, and it worked. But you can't just do that, with a computer, like throwing in AI. It's not going to happen that way. And then you lose that interaction as well.
And again, if you like that, if you want to do, that's fine. But let's just find a way for these artists to get paid. And I will always support real art. And again, if you're like, I don't know how to do this, guess what? There's, like I said, Fiverr, Creative Market. There are so many ways that you can engage. You can go to your local fucking like arts university at your
I was gonna say that
support your fucking local community. Go in there, go to the senior art classes and say, hey, I'm doing this project. I would love it if your class could be a part of it. oh my God, look at that. You've just, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I think outside
You
the box
gave
of how
them
you can
a
make
purpose
work.
and a mission. And some of those people have, you know, they probably have been drawing for 50 years. You know, like
Yeah,
you never
so I just,
know, like
mhm.
what's going to happen. So I think it's really important, you know, just to really educate yourself. And I think too, it's almost like you got to like morally tap into yourself too, and really be like, how do I feel about this? Like, how would I feel about
If it was
knowing
me.
that, you know, yeah, it could be any of us, you know, really, like, is that okay? Do you mind that? Like, do you feel good about that? And it's like, I mean, I don't think I won't across the board. Like, I'm not about, you know, I'm not about it just because it's, I think too, what is important too, if that's something you're considering, and even with the fake decks, you know, Google how people create decks. Ask somebody how they create a deck.
Yeah.
What goes into it? How that works for you. You know, and I think by even doing that, it, you know, that you have again a better understanding of how it all goes down, so that when that fake deck comes along, you're like, oh my gosh, I remember this happening, and then talking to that person about how they created theirs, and then maybe it's, you know, you're gonna be like, you know what, maybe I'm not gonna do that. We can try. I mean, we can try. That's all we can do.
Yeah, it's just, and again, like, say what you, people can say whatever the fuck they want to say about me. I don't give a shit. But like, it's not because I don't think people should succeed and that these decks don't, you know, creators don't deserve to have successful Kickstarters or get paid. Like, that's bullshit. Of course I do. I'm not jealous of anybody else's success or anything like that. It's like the ethics underneath it, the lives that we work with every day. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. And yeah, it reminds me of the writer strike. Like, yes, 100%. Like, pay those fucking people.
Right. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy how, you know, society too, after a while, they just kind of get numb to stuff and they forget, because we're so used to getting everything quick. And then we forget what, you know, actually goes down and how all this works. So I think that's, you know, just taking a minute, slow down and think about people and what they're doing and how they're doing it, why they're doing it. Because a lot of times, you know, it's not like, you know, you become millionaire by creating decks. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe some people do, you get lucky, whatever. But
no, a millionaire, I don't think so. Because like, even like, you know, very successful, like the Alleyman's Oracle and Tarot.
Yeah.
Like, so fucking cool. Really amazing that it was so successful. But there's a lot of artists who've been paid. Again, they got paid. You know, they've all contributed. So when all that kind of goes out and the printing and the shipping is all done, like, no one's probably walking away from there being a millionaire, you know? Like, it's
no,
like,
not at all. Not at all. And I was in the last one. And you know, he actually he has it down pat. Like, I mean, the
I know.
You know, and everybody, and it is all, you know, making sure everybody gets credit and all of that too. And so that is definitely, you know, how you want to go about it, and how the AI, I think, should be as well. If people need to get paid, they need to get credit for it, then fine. You know, if I would feel way better knowing that, you know, and going that way. So it is definitely, I don't know. I feel like it's all happening at once too. Like, all of this, the fake decks and this and this and that. So it's crazy that, you know, really that we have all this going on. And I'm just trying to look at my Instagram here. Oh, where are you going? So, yeah, so you know, I think that, so we're just hitting about an hour now. So
we are.
Yeah, that went so fast.
I know. I really went on like a thing today, right? Like, fuck these fake decks, and like,
I know. No, we just went on with full on rant, and I'm all here for it. I love it. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. So why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on the interwebs?
Well, if you don't mind this sassy fucking Australian mouth, I am at Ethony on Instagram. I only have one Instagram handle. Please do not let the fucking fake people take your shit. You can find me at ethony.com. My Tarot Readers Academy is tarotreadersacademy.com, where I have lots of amazing teachers there, and there's courses for myself. I have over 800 videos on YouTube you can go and check out as well. You know, like, just, yeah, I mean, you can buy my book through Llewellyn on Amazon. You can buy any of my decks by my website. I don't know, man. Like even just like say hi in my DMs. I'm always like on social. So
perfect. I love it. Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And make sure to keep an eye out also for Ethony's Kickstarter. Hopefully in the next month or so, get that going. And yes, as a cosmic
wisdom.
Tarot. I don't even know what was that word I just used?
Who knows? Who cares? It's fine. It's
just look for it. You'll find it and just buy it and all that good stuff.
I do have blonde hair on Instagram. Yes. So she had a moment last August where my hair was so damaged from being cut, like bleached, and it was so hot. I cut it off to give it like a re-thing of life. This mousy brown is my natural hair color. But I'm going to go get my highlights back because I like being blonde. But yes, my hair is like blonde, but that's
and you have the pink on. You have the pink dress on, right?
The pink dress.
Top. Yeah, and the blonde hair. So I'm
getting the blonde back.
But soon to be blonde back. But I will also be, when I repost, I will tag the right one as well. So that you guys can, everybody can find it and all that good stuff. So yeah, but thank you all for hanging out with us. And we had a lot of fun and absolutely appreciate all of you. So so follow and keep an eye on all the stuff we're doing. All right. We'll talk to you soon, everybody. Thank you.